Okay. Today is June 6th, 2024. It is currently 10:19 p.m. So this is a Thursday night. It's a little late, but I have been toiling and toying and contemplating going live for a while now. I have even gotten to the point before where I sit down and tried to do a live, but it did not work out. So a little bit earlier today, I solicited some help and I have actually learned how to go live. I didn't inform anybody. So this is sort of like a test, and just do it is what I thought to myself. Just do it. I need to go ahead and start making more content. It takes me a while to do the videos that I do that have the little B-roll in them and the pictures and things. It takes literally about 4 hours for me to do those, but this is going to be something that I want to make consistent. I want to be consistent in doing the live streams. I would like to do the live streams from 6 to 7 on Sunday evenings. If I learn how to do this correctly, then I won't need the help. If this thing comes out okay, then I may try this on Sunday. Won't be 6 this time. It'll probably be 2, but I just want to give it a try. So I'm going to try to test this video to see if it looks okay when I post it, and just figure it all out so that Sunday when I come on, I will have made the announcement ahead of time, and then I can go live and maybe some people will show up. Anyway, my motto for today and from now on is just do it. Talk to you guys on Sunday. Okay, there's somebody in here. I think Miss Tanya, is that somebody that's in here? Sunday when I go live, I am going to ask a lot of questions. It's going to be like a survey time. I want to ask a lot of questions about what people are looking for. These are some trying times right now. And in this day and age, people are concerned. People are really concerned about the direction that the economy is going, the direction that their lives are going, and they want answers. And we're not getting anything that's forthcoming from the powers that be. So, since there are a few of you in the chat, I want to let you know that I'm kind of changing the direction of the channel. It's called Escape the Rat Race. And I will continue to talk about escaping the rat race, but a little differently. Not necessarily from a tax standpoint, but from an overall standpoint. What do we need to do to escape the rat race? Put a 1 in the chat if you know what the rat race is. What if you have an idea, or either tell me what your interpretation of the rat race is, please, so that I can make sure that all of us are on the same page as far as what the rat race is. So yes, you have an interpretation of it. Tell me what it is. Tell me what your interpretation of the rat race means. To me, the rat race is what we were taught to do, which is get a good education so you can get a good job and work on a job for somebody else and take 2 vacations a year and stay in constant debt, go out and buy everything at the mall on the weekends, and never have any extra money to do the things that you want to do. Then you look at wealthy people and you know, some people hate on them or whatever. It's like, how do they get to do that? Um, yeah, it is an American nightmare. It's definitely a nightmare. And what we want to do is we want to get out of that nightmare. I don't like nightmares, never did. Had them when I was little, don't want to have them now. So when I say escape the rat race, what I mean is buying back your time from the system. When I say escape the rat race, what I mean is doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it with. How many of you would like to do that? Doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it with. Put a one in the chat if you like to do it that way. This is what I want to teach. It's not necessarily about what we do with taxes. It's overall, you all, because right now, especially in the US of A, it's hitting us from every direction. You know, people who were staunch believers in getting a job can't get a job, or you got a job that's paying you half of what you know you're worth, because there are 3 or 4 people ready to take your place, because we have an influx of people coming across the border from God knows where. So there's a lot of stuff going on. What I used to say a long time ago, and maybe not on the videos, but when I was like even in my 20s and early 30s, I was saying, you know what? They want to bring this country down. What they're going to do, and they're not going to be able to do it right up front in your face. What they're going to do is they're going to water down the milk. They're going to start doing things to water down the milk. They watered down the education system. Now it's not an education system, it's an indoctrination system made for people to just, you know, do jobs or either fail. Um, those are some of the things that we want to talk about. What is this in the chat? Okay, I'm going to start doing my perspectives. I don't know how to do the mod thing yet. So, I guess if we get some craziness in here today, then it's gonna have to stay there because I don't know how to get rid of it if it's there. So anyway, I want to this is what I would like to do. I would like to teach about escaping the rat race. And what I mean by that is I would like to teach getting out of debt. I would like to teach starting and growing a successful and viable home-based business. I would like to teach growing wealth and building a legacy for generations to come. This is what I see other people doing. I'm very observant, and some of these people have come to me and they've talked to me about it. You know, they say, "Hey, we realize that you're really serious about, what people do and how we are underdogs, and this is what I learned. This is what I learned." So I've learned these things. Wealthy people aren't mean. They just they'll share things with you if they see that you're open to it, and if they see that you can use it correctly. I've had a lot of things shared with me about how to use trust and how to create wealth and build wealth. I've got a lot of associates now that have so many different ways. There's so many different ways to build wealth. And one of the things that I hear from a lot of people that are in the middle class is, well, I don't have money to start that. So in order to get money to start that, we got to start with the basics. We can't start where, oh, blank blank told us to go out and buy a piece of real estate so that we can make a whole bunch of money in real estate, or a whole bunch of money with Airbnbs. That's great, and you can make a whole bunch of money. But first of all, you got to get the real estate. How do you get the real estate if you don't have the money? Or if your credit is not good enough to get like a loan, then that's not going to work for you. I want to start with the basics because I want to get people to the point where they have that extra money. I got a lot of ways to do that now because there are so many ways to make money on the internet, off the internet, and making sure that it's sustainable is what I'd like to do. I like multiple streams of income and I like them to be consistent. And as I grow my multiple streams of income, I like to show you how to grow multiple streams of income. Put a one in the chat if you agree with that and if you're looking forward to that, because I am. I love to teach people. I'm a big mouth. You all know I'm a big mouth. I got in trouble for being a big mouth and telling you all the stuff that was wrong with our government. So I would like to know. See, I'm telling you all to put a one in the chat for a lot of different things because I'm going to go back and look at it so I can see what you all are interested in. Um, Thailand. Okay. So, Scott, I'm vested in Costa Rica. I don't know how many of you guys knew this, but I have land in Costa Rica. I have one, two, three pieces of property in Costa Rica. One is I have three corporations in Costa Rica. One is called Middle of Paradise, and that one we have Middle of Paradise Beach, and we have Middle of Paradise Hills. And then I have a couple of other corporations. One of them is going to help build the area. We're on the East Coast, on the Afro-Caribbean coast of Costa Rica. At some point before the year is over, I'm giving somebody a free ticket down to Costa Rica because what I do, I don't know if you guys knew this because I don't talk about it much on the channel. And this is part of escaping the rat race. You got to get to the point where you can be international. I'm going back on the 30th of this month. This will be my third trip this year. And, because I had to go furnish my house that I bought and all that other stuff. But this is where I want everybody to be. I don't want to always be in a situation where I want to go somewhere and my friends say, oh, I can't go with you because I've already taken my 2 weeks vacation. So, I am, let me see. All right. We got some world citizens in here also. Yeah. I did start talking about Costa Rica in 2018. That's when I first went in January 2018. Fell in love with it. And, even through the struggle of the pandemic, I still move forward with it. And just like the video that I did the other day when I was in Orlando about just keep getting up. When I get knocked down, I just keep getting up. And then I'm so intimidated. This is a personal thing. I'm so intimidated by technology. Even doing this live, I got somebody to help me. And I literally had to write down everything they did and every button they pushed so that I could get to the point where I could do a live. When I tried it maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, it didn't work. And I just frustrated. But I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I want to know thank you so much. Yeah, Costa Rica is an amazing place. I do have a 54-acre master planned shipping container community that I'm putting together there as a plan B. I am doing a Escape the Rat Race challenge next week, the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. The first 3 days, I'm going to be teaching about how to get out of debt, how to start a business, how to grow wealth, and how to build a legacy. That fourth day, which is a Saturday, we're going to talk about plan B, because what I am creating in Costa Rica is for when the excrement hits the portable cooling device in the United States. What are you going to do? Oprah has her island. What is his name? Bronson, Virgin Atlantic person. He has an island. The Rockefellers and all those people have large compounds in different places in the Caribbean. And Ted Turner has over 1,000 acres in Montana. These people have a place to go when the wheels come off. You don't want to be like it was in Katrina. The Hurricane Katrina is the most explicit example that I can think of about what happens when you don't have a plan B. Everybody and their grandmother knew that hurricane was coming. There were people that thought to themselves, I better get out of here. And they left immediately. They boarded up their houses and left. And then you got to the point where the people that waited till the last minute and they left. Some people couldn't leave. They were in situations where they didn't have the resources to leave. And a lot of stuff happened. But as we get closer to whatever they're doing in this country, then you want to be making sure that you're putting together the resources so that you can either stay here or you can go somewhere else. Now, I don't blame the people that want to stay. A lot of people say we built this country and we want to fight for the country. It's not my fight right now, you all. I fought in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, and it's time for me to just sit back and help people and educate people. I'm not fighting. I'm trying to build a plan B for everybody that wants a plan B. Uh, yeah, yeah. This country, as far as I'm concerned, and people say different things about it, but I truly believe that it's by design that it's being taken down. I think that most people know that it's being taken down, but I don't think most people are doing anything about it. You can't just shrug your shoulders and say, "Oh well, I can't do anything about it." You can do something about it. Don't get tethered to different things. Like, make sure you're flexible. Make sure that you have resources coming in to where you can be flexible. Um, I'm reading the chat. I'm gonna get better at reading the chat and still talking, but right now I'm not there. Yeah, I think all over the country, there's a problem going on. I think you saw the video that I did about owning nothing and being happy, where the rail stations, the MARTA train stations here in Atlanta, the ones in my area in DeKalb County, have all these apartments just coming up everywhere, just everywhere. And I don't know how much they're going to cost, but every day just about I hear people talking about how these hedge funds are buying up whole neighborhoods and buying up all the houses. So you've got a whole situation, like my video said, where my dad taught me when I was younger there will be no middle class. A lot of people that I know are being swept into poverty because if they've gotten caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, they've got too much stuff and they have too much debt, then one bad thing happens and everything tumbles. You lose your job and you've got a $800 car note or two, and then you've got a student loan debt, which is a whole nother bubble, which is a whole nother set of shackles on your wrists and on your ankles. You got all of that going on, then boom, it's over. There was a lady that I saw in the back of Hobby Lobby. I went in Hobby Lobby to get something, and there was a lady, and she was dressed in a suit, and she was in the back of the store, and she pulled me aside and asked me for some money. She was a businesswoman, and she really said she hated to do that. She hated to do it, but she didn't have money for her car note. So these things are here. People are on the streets. You see people every day, and especially if you live on the West Coast, because I hear things about just the people laying outside of you're paying like $2,500 for a one bedroom apartment, and then you go outside and you're stepping over, literally stepping over people that are on blankets outside of your apartment. That's just not happening. That I can't deal with that. And I know that Atlanta is getting to the point where I see homeless people all over the place. They're at when you get off the expressway, they're right there asking for food or money. Most of them are asking for money. I do give out food. I won't give out any money, but this is happening. That there are people that are losing their apartments, losing their homes, and you know it's happening. So what we need to do is we need to fireproof ourselves from having that whole situation happen to us. If you're in debt, let's get out of debt. If you're and that's not, we don't want to do that all at one time. It's like all the money that comes in shouldn't go to getting out of debt, because then you won't have any extra money, and then when something else happens you won't have any savings. So getting out of debt and saving and investing, all that stuff needs to happen all at the same time, and I'll explain a lot of that in the challenge. If you want to check out the website for the challenge, is escapetheratracechallenge.com. And I'm going to go back to the chat so I can try to see if there's anything in there. So contacting me for an interview, just send an email to connect@sherrypeeljackson.com. That's how to contact me. Connect@sherrypeeljackson.com. I'll cut down on the interviews that I'm doing. And I'm just being frank here. I'm not going to be the tax lady anymore. I'm the money lady. A lot of people have approached me about the different remedies that people use to get out of paying taxes. And I'm not saying that they don't work. I'm just saying that people come to me after they've done this or that or filed this or that. Some of them have gotten money back. They have to pay the money back. I'm not saying that any of this doesn't work. That's just not where I'm headed right now. I'm headed more so towards people who are just surviving right now that want to learn how to thrive. So I love teaching people how to start and grow businesses. I do help with that. There's a way to structure businesses properly, and it depends on you. It's not a cookie cutter thing or a one size fits all thing. Also, where you set your business up is important also. We're always taught to go down to the Secretary of State's office and get a company. That's not what wealthy people do. Most wealthy people don't have a footprint in the place where they lay their heads at night. So there are things that I've learned that I teach. I'm excited to be live too, but a little bit nervous about it. So I do interviews now. The interviews that I do, I'm going to pick them very carefully. They're going to be about starting and growing home-based businesses and things like that. I'm not doing any more tax interviews. You know how, and I don't know, I guess I'm dating myself because I'm a Trekkie, live long and prosper. And believe it or not, they used to call me Spock in high school because I was always that logical person. But William Shatner, which was Captain Kirk, was typecast. He was always going to be Captain Kirk. He was on TJ Hooker and I think maybe one other show after Star Trek stopped running, but everybody knew him as Captain Kirk. And I feel like that about myself a lot because, my whole thing that I went through with the insidious representatives of Satan, better known as the IRS, all that stuff, it happened. And I still believe what I believe. However, there's a lot more to me than just, can you tell me how to stop paying taxes? And that's the question that I get so much. It's like I know ways to stop paying taxes. We have to look at what the wealthy do. The wealthy don't pay taxes. A whole lot of the large corporations don't pay taxes. And it's not about some letter that you write or some papers that you file. It's more about how you structure your life. It's about how you start a business. It's about how you build a trust and those kinds of things. Not the things that the wealthy people don't use, but the things that the wealthy people do. If you all remember, I stopped watching television Tell a Vision in 2016 during that election where Donald Trump and the Hildebeest were debating. And Hillary Clinton said, Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes. And everybody said, Donald Trump didn't. And everybody was calling me. I didn't see it, but I went online to see it. And sure enough, she said something like that. And then after that, he said, well, I'm a smart man. Well, he and others are smart people, regardless of whether you feel how you feel about him, whether you love him or hate him. He's a smart man. He uses the tax code in his favor. So there's something called net operating losses. And when your business has a loss, you get to carry it back and retrieve money. This is stuff that Congress put in there for themselves and for their rich friends. So if you have a business loss, you get to carry it back 3 years and you get to carry it forward like 20 years. So if you have big losses, then you don't have to pay taxes because you keep getting into the loss that you had. I had a client that their accountant, when I have clients, I always go back and look at their personal and business tax returns for 3 years. And when I did that, I noticed they had a loss. And then I looked at the previous years and their accountant didn't bother to go and carry those losses back. So they got a significant amount of money back because they had to go back to their accountant and say, we had a loss here and you didn't take them back. So those are the kinds of things that wealthy people do that make them stay wealthy. They don't go out and buy 7 flat screen TVs and have even one in the kitchen. They don't do stuff like that. They don't go and get a lease on a Mercedes Benz and, try to style and profile. I did some psychological work, research on why people do stuff like that. And it's like, People sometimes have low self-esteem, so they'll go out and buy stuff that makes them feel like they're worthy. But we're all worthy, and something happened in their lives to make them not feel worthy. So that's why you see people piling into the malls on Friday to spend their paychecks on stuff. And I'm gonna call it stuff. You hear me talk about stuff. I don't have stuff. When I furnished my house, it's a ragtag set of stuff that I got from different places. Most of the things in my home are not new. I got them at garage sales, or somebody was moving or something like that, because the money that I accumulate, I like to invest in real estate. Hard assets are what I call assets that I would like to invest in. I don't have an IRA. I don't have 401k. I don't have mutual fund, any of that kind of stuff. I invest in silver, gold, and real estate. Silver, gold, and real estate. The house that I bought in Costa Rica this year, I'm about to rent it out. I did a little video. I bought a domain name for it. My house's name is Villa Tranquilla, Tranquil Village, Villa. And so I bought villatranquilla.net. I haven't put it up yet, but I made a cute little video of the house so that I can start renting it out and let it pay for itself. These are the kind of things that wealthy people do. So just follow what they do. I'm going to go back and look in the chat. I would like to do landscaping in my area in the country, South Carolina. Okay, so what we want to concentrate on for businesses are things that can scale. There's only so much landscaping that you're going to be able to do in a day, and you're going to wear yourself out. And oh, you can do that. Okay, do it. But think of some other businesses that will make you money in your sleep. So I have several businesses that make me money in my sleep. I've had two. I just got the house in February. I've had one, and the second renter in the house in Costa Rica is going to be coming on June 17th. In my own personal home that I'm in right now, right below me, I have a basement, and I have a tenant in there that's been in there since 2020. She pays for the mortgage and some. That's one of the other streams of income. Of course, the books are a stream of income. Of course, my consulting business is a stream of income, and so on and so on. At some point or another, when we start to grow the development in Costa Rica, that will be some income too. It's at the beginning stages where I'm waiting on permits and things like that, but I'm patient, or I'm learning patience, because everybody doesn't move at the speed that we move in the United States. If you're from New York, you're gonna have a hard time in Costa Rica. You have a stroke because they're just at a different pace. And I've heard the same thing about like Jamaica, no problem. In Costa Rica is pura vida. Anyway, you want multiple streams of income. It's okay to have something that you do, but you only have 8 hours in a day, and you really don't have that long. If you're going to do landscaping, you might have, especially in the summer, you might have 2 or 3 good hours before it starts to roast outside. So I want everybody to start thinking of a business that will bring you money 24/7. I'm going to talk extensively about that when I do the challenge starting on the 12th, and even give ideas about businesses. And we're going to start a business. Somebody's going to get a chance to start a business. That's just where I am right now. We want to do that. In Africa, I have been to the Republic of South Africa, had a wonderful time. Never go transatlantic for a week. That was a disaster. It's like I wasn't ready to leave. When you go transatlantic, meaning you leave the United States and go anywhere over the Atlantic, please try to stay 2 weeks, because it's just not enough time. A week is not enough time. But there are places in Africa that you will be able to start businesses. The reason that I selected Costa Rica was because it wasn't transatlantic. Did you know? Put a one in the chat if you knew that you could literally drive to Costa Rica through Texas and down through Mexico. Put a one in the chat. I want to see how many people knew that. There's a particular highway that'll get you there. Now, it might be a little corruption on there, and it might be a little hard, But I've heard of two people on YouTube that actually drove down to Costa Rica. So when my relatives that aren't ready to go, when I finally get over there full time, when they're not, if they're not ready to go, they don't have to get on a plane. They may not even have that option. Costa Rica, you won't starve to death. There's food on a great percentage of the trees. You won't freeze to death because it's warm there. If the Costa Rica has like seven different ecosystems. On the west coast, where the Pacific Ocean is, that's the developed area of Costa Rica. They have the Hiltons, the Hyatts, the Starbucks, the Hard Rock cafes, and things like that. And the real estate is really, really, really high over there. Now they have a rainy season where it rains, 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 and they have a dry season, almost like California, where there's a risk of fire. I am on the other side, on the East Coast, the Caribbean Sea, that Caribbean blue. I don't know how many of you saw my video that I call my Wusa corner, where I turn this corner when I get there, and it's just the Caribbean Sea. It's a tropical area. It's the jungle. So it's warm and tropical, warm and humid most of the time, or hot and humid. It's like Atlanta, it's like Georgia and Florida in the summer. It might be like 90 degrees, and at 4 o'clock, it'll pour down raining. And then it'll rain maybe for about an hour, 2 hours, and then it'll stop. And then, you'll have the steam on the streets and you'll never know it rained. A lot of times in Costa Rica, it rains every day for a little while. The months that I normally go, which are the driest months, are September, October, and March, April. Most of the time when I go during those months, it may rain at 3 o'clock in the morning and stop at 6, and you won't see any more rain. Something like that. So it'll rain maybe 1 or 2 days out of out of 21 days. I used to go for 21 days at a time, but I don't get enough done in that time. So I need to show my face a little bit more often. So I go for 7 to 11 days instead of the 21 days. I have taken a lot of people down there. I've taken at least 30 people down there with me because they want to see. On the East Coast, the land isn't as expensive, so it's almost like it's like somebody told you about the Hawaii in the 60s. If I had known about Hawaii in the 60s, or if I had known about Cancun in the 80s, it's kind of like that. Anyway, let me get off Costa Rica. Oh, the airport is so small. It's a house, you all. The airport in the Limon Airport is the size of a ranch style house. It is so funny. And one time we were there and it did rain in April really bad. And it rained so bad that the water was coming in and they were trying to sweep the water out of the airport. So it was very interesting. Let's see. Sun protection is required. Yeah. The sunsets and the sunrises are beautiful in Costa Rica, especially when you're on the ocean. So, what do I think about government contracting? Good question. In, I think it was 1998, somebody invited me to a seminar, and I went, and it was about government contracting. And all of these different governmental agencies were there and telling you how you can be a contractor and make all this money. So I was a CPA then. I'm not now. I gave that license up. And I went and took a month and I got certified. I did all of those applications to get certified. I was certified with first of all the Small Business Administration. I was certified with the state of Georgia. I was certified with Fulton County, Atlanta Public Schools, and I don't know how many other ones, but I got certification. And then after that, I was on their list to bid on contracts. I never got a contract with the SBA. All they wanted to do is have people come and talk to me. And every 3 months, I would have to turn in these long reports. I never got anything from it. So I just cut it with the SBA. But with the state of Georgia, I got some contracts. And at one point, I had a $998,000 contract with the state of Georgia. So contracting is good. If you have if you have a product or a service that you can sell the government, that is a decent way to make money. It's time intensive, and a lot of times you'll have to have employees. The contract that I had with the City of Atlanta Public Schools, that was another one. They hired me as a fraud examiner. Somebody had taken money from the PTA. I think they call it something different now. I think there's another letter in there, Parent Teacher Something Association. And I had to track that money down. And as back then I was a certified fraud examiner, so I would be able to write a certified report as to what happened to the money. So that contract was another one. And then I had a contract with Fulton County where we went in and did some surveys with the employees. So government contracting is good. Any other questions? Brokering funding for businesses. I don't understand what that means. Brokering funding for businesses. So what I think it means is you finding somebody that has funds and matching them up with somebody who needs funds. And that's fine. I mean, that's what a lot of business is, brokering. Something like an Airbnb. They have houses, and Airbnb is the broker there. Somebody puts their house on Airbnb and somebody comes and rents it, and Airbnb gets money. And most businesses are like that. So brokering is fine. Um, Anything that's going to bring you some money, that's not going to have you working hours for dollars. What we want to avoid doing is working hours for dollars. I'm going to turn my little fan on if I can, because I'm getting a little warm. Okay, there we go. So yeah, brokering funding sounds pretty good for a business. A lot of businesses that are doing well, you got 17-year-olds making millions of dollars with businesses that have to do with being out in the social light, social media and things like that. And there's a way to structure those businesses so that they will be lasting. I only have one business that has a footprint here in Georgia, and that's on purpose. When you get to the point where you have when you're outspoken like me and more of a, what did one of my teachers, when I was getting my master's, he called me a subversive. He read about me and he said, "You're a subversive." He didn't say it in a mean way. He just was very interested in the fact that, some of the stuff that he read. But when you have a big mouth like me, you want to make sure that your assets are protected. So you want to make sure that you do things to make sure your assets are protected. But first of all, I want to get you all some assets. Somebody, the I get my gold and silver from a company in Tennessee. It's a family-owned company. Their office is in a barn, and it's called Volunteer Precious Metals. And their their email is, I mean, not their email, I'm sorry, their website is volunteerpreciousmetals.com. And volunteer, it's the Tennessee Volunteer, so that's what I guess it means. It is about 3 minutes till 11, so I'm going to log off at 11, but I'll see if there's any more. Oh no, it's 5 minutes to 11. That clock over there is fast. I'm gonna log off if nobody else has any questions. Somebody said something that, okay. MIT said that inflation for middle class is a major U.S. citizens at 69% in the last 2 years. We are paying $6 for eggs. When I go to the grocery store, I really don't go to the grocery store that much anymore. We have an awesome farmers market. It's called Our DeKalb Farmers Market, and their food is like straight from local farmers, and some things are shipped in, but they're fresh things. I get the seeded watermelon. I get the pineapples that I just made a pineapple, ginger, and cucumber smoothie. Pineapple from Costa Rica. We need to do things like that. We need to watch what we eat also. That's a whole another thing that they're doing to try to kill us. I don't see any more questions. I don't know if I have to scroll down. I don't think I have to scroll down. I think that I can see them all. The hotels may not have hot water. Okay, hot water is an issue in Costa Rica. I actually had to put a hot water tank in the house that I just bought. The first week I was there, I bought the house. My realtor furnished the house with the sink. No, no, I'm sorry. The stove, the refrigerator, and a convection oven. I don't use microwaves. So I sent her the money and she had the stove installed, the refrigerator installed, and she had a convection oven. And it took me a week to furnish that house. But every day I had to take a cold shower because there was no hot water, but that was okay. The water wasn't all that cold because it was hot during the day. There are a lot of different things that the reason a lot of people don't stay in other countries is because we've gotten spoiled. We've gotten spoiled by Amazon. We've gotten spoiled by a whole bunch of different things that other countries they don't have. And I'm not that type. I had to deal with prison and have to, look at my plate and make sure that there are no bugs around it and stuff like that. So I'm okay with cold showers. I had to take cold showers there. I had to take hot showers there. There were some times that we didn't have cold water. There were some times that we didn't have hot water. So, I'm used to that. But trekking around in the jungle is so freeing because you don't have to depend on the grocery store. You won't ever have to depend on the grocery store opening or closing. Just get Oh, the mangoes are so good. I've got this picture that I sent my children where I had a whole mango and then I took a picture when I had devoured it. And it's like the caption said, "A mutilation has just taken place," because everything is fresh, straight from the ocean to your plate, straight from the tree to your plate. When I look in the back of restaurants here, I'm scared. When I look in the back of restaurants there, I see plantains and bananas just hanging. There are people on the streets selling fish. They'll go and fish and then they'll sell the fresh fish. This is just wonderful. I have a garden in our backyard and chickens in California. Excellent. They have chickens in the backyard. The chickens that you get there aren't those monstrous chickens that have all the hormones in it. They just go out in the backyard, cut it, and then you've got chicken there. You don't have to worry about hormones. When my dad goes with me, his COPD, he doesn't have all these breathing problems and stuff. I'm interested in purchasing real estate. Should I start a company to manage this business or should I use my existing business to purchase the real estate? That's a good question. I don't know what your existing business is. And sometimes if you're small, it's it's usually better to keep things all together. Like SP Jackson Consulting does a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't put the real estate with it because I'm doing some other stuff with that. But you may want to have a different real estate company, especially if you plan on getting a lot of different pieces of real estate. It might be better for you to have a different company. What you don't want to do when you're small is you don't want to have a whole bunch of different companies because it's too much. You got several different bank accounts and you have to reconcile these bank accounts. It's too much to keep up with. And as you grow larger you might want to expand, but one of the reasons that businesses fail is because people just can't keep up. You keep up with your expertise, and if you can pay other people to do the other stuff, that's fine. But if you can't, there's no need to have 2 or 3 businesses if you can't keep up. I have a garden in the backyard too. Today I harvested blackberries and blueberries. There weren't that many, maybe like a small or medium-sized bowl full. I have a peach tree in my front yard, and it is weighed down with these little bitty peaches. This is the first year that it harvested, and I don't know whether I can eat them this year or not. I might have to wait till next year because this is the second year. So we have a master gardener at our church, and he told me to cut all of the branches that didn't have any peaches on it, and then the peaches that are on there would grow. So I'm hoping that maybe in 2 weeks or a month, then we'll see whether or not they're edible or not. But it's right in the front yard, and there are at least 100 peaches on there. A lot of those little black bugs on the leaves, which I had to keep away from me, but they look good. So there's a couple of them that kind of look a little red, but we'll see if they get soft. But I don't plant anything that doesn't have some kind of value. I don't have flowers. Even the marigolds keep the bugs away. I have uh, oregano. I have lemon balm. I have rosemary and those kinds of things. So I have herbs. And then I have all these. I have the peach trees in the front yard. That's the only tree in the front yard. I have a pecan tree in the backyard. I have a pomegranate tree. I have a fig tree. I have 2 apple trees. I have 8 blackberry bushes. You all know I like blackberries. And I have 2 blueberry bushes. So that's all a part of us getting back our lives and making sure that we're in control, because I can go out in the backyard. Like, I forgot about the 2 SUV sized raised bed gardens. My father had a lot of those cement blocks. They're huge blocks, and he made me 2 big old SUV sized raised gardens. And so I like kale a whole lot. And so I do kale and collards and cabbage in the winter. I didn't plan anything yet this year. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, but I love kale, and it's like nice going out there in the fall and pulling kale and then putting some salmon with it. Yeah. You know what? Somebody asked me about balance. We're talking about focusing on efficiency and outcome. We have to be laser focused right now. We really do. We have to be laser focused because things are happening. But I don't believe in balance when you're not where you want to be. I don't have time for balance. My mom talks about, you need to. No, you got to be really, really focused and serious and driven about getting done what needs to be done right now. Because I think that after this election, if we have an election, sometime about March at the latest, things are going to go crazy. So be ready. I am about to sign off. I thank you all for coming, and on Sunday at 2. And I'm going to put it in the chat or something like that. On Sunday at 2, I'll be back. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to get ourselves to the point where we are escaping the rat race. And maybe by then I'll know how to put the intro in and the exit in. So I really appreciate you all, Nighthawks like me, showing up. I'm not going to do them this late on a normal basis, but I will be back with the lives. Talk to you soon.